All right, we out here. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, everybody.
We are live. What's today? Jeez.
Today's Tuesday, December 10th.
Okay, so back to our Tuesday. Give me that time.
Has been pinned.
All right. Welcome.
Great evening, everyone.
Mhm. A lot of work to do.
Happy, that's what I say. Look at that, doing what you did last week. Happy Wednesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
You did that. I didn't do that.
Last week you did it.
I went with it, remember?
Oh, you're like, happy hump day.
Oh, the other week. You're right. What's up, everybody?
Happy Tuesday. I hope you all have been having a better than ever week so far. It's our weekly social media live.
Yes.
Here to talk about today.
Frequently asked questions.
That's right.
I figured it'd be a good topic to kind of dive into. There's a lot of things that, as we have our what do you call those things? The free evaluation. No, evaluation, right? It's evaluation. Consultation. I'm like, it sounds wrong. Okay, yeah. So as we have our free consultation with clients, we get, there's certain questions we get all the time. So we figured this would be a great opportunity to come on here, connect with you all, and kind of go over some of those common questions we get, have a little discussion around those, and then, leave a little time at the end, like we always do, for some Q&A. So, we wanted to dive in and just kind of share with you all some of the things that, some of the terminology for the industry, any of you, if you're getting into entrepreneurship, if you, if you're a writer, you're a creator, if you're trying to release any kind of product or service, their chances are you're gonna come across these terms as you get into your profession, as you get into the entrepreneurship world. Right. So, we figured it'd be cool to have a little discussion around some of those topics and, just kind of, be that resource that we said we would be. So shout out to everybody who's on already, but I'll dive right in.
So the first question, it might be like common sense to some people. Other times it might not be so common, is what exactly is branding? What is that? What does that all entail? What does that include? I thought I was already branding. Am I doing branding? Do I have branding?
Yeah.
What is branding?
What does that have to do with social media, so on and so forth? So the long and short of it, branding is what you present to the world. And the most common association with the brand is typically the logo. It's where you start. It's the emblem, the moniker, it's the mark, as the technical term is. It's the mark that is associated with your business, your product, or your service.
For example, like first thing when you think of Starbucks, you automatically see the lady in the green circle, or Nike. Target or Nike or Apple, you see the Apple sign. So, they have great branding.
Right, so branding is the set of marks, colors, and visual aesthetics that's associated with the brand. Branding can even get as deep as copy, which is what we'll talk about a little later. Right. It's the voice of your copy of your text on your website and your marketing, whether that be on business cards, flyers, landing pages, you name it. So all of those things are a part of the overall branding package or branding identity for business. So anytime you hear the term branding, I need to work on my branding, it's basically saying you're working on your visual aesthetics, working on your voice, working on your presentation to the world, and you can tell a mature company from a startup company based off of their understanding of branding, right? If you're releasing if you have a certain style of art, and certain style of design on your website, a good branded company is going to have that consistently flow through their social media platforms, through their landing pages, their webinars, anything that would have any association with them.
And that's what I was going to add to that. Keyword is the consistency in your branding, whether that's consistency with your logo all throughout, platforms or anywhere, not just on like social media platforms,
Right.
but anywhere you go out and see
Letterhead.
that business,
Right.
Consistent. Which one did I just say?
Right.
Like they're consistent with their logo,
Mhm.
and like Cleet mentioned, consistent with their tone or their voice.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's consistent across the board. Like if you hear a commercial, like sometimes you don't even have to like actually look at the TV, but like,
The sound
I
is
know,
good, right?
yeah, sound. So it's a constant consistency throughout, like a constant consistency.
Right.
Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah. It's it. And that's good branding, like Kim was
Right.
saying. Like if let's think of a sound, that's associated with a brand.
Right.
That's a good jingle right there. See, that's getting into another story, right? But yeah, that's good branding right there, right? So
that's something local, but I'm trying to think of something more national.
Well, we'll think of it by the end of it. But you all get the gist. Branding is the key to branding. The point Kim making is consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you create a brand identity, a combination of all those things I talked about earlier,
mm-hmm.
and then you be consistent with it, and then anytime you want to change that, you change it all.
Right.
You don't just change a piece of it because it causes confusion and people don't know how to identify it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called brand identity. So,
yes.
So that's that. Let's keep going. What's another?
Another question we get a lot when working with clients are, what are revisions?
Revisions, yes. So this is a term typically used when we're talking about logo design.
Mm-hmm.
So revisions are simply changes to the original concept that a designer submits to you. Okay.
Initially. Yeah.
Right. So you go to a designer, you're like, hey, I want this logo, I want butterflies flying, and then I want my name under the butterflies, and I want it to look like glitter. They're like, okay, cool. So what they do, they go and they start working on that design. They
mm-hmm.
create that design for you. A good designer is going to come back to you with a few concepts for you to look at. Now, chances are when you purchase a package with that designer, they're already going to tell you how many concepts you're getting and how many revisions you would get,
mm-hmm.
Associated with that logo. So the revisions are basically the changes to those initial concepts you send them. So they send you this butterfly with your name,
mm-hmm.
with the glitter, but they have the name too small, or the butterflies aren't big enough, or whatever have you. Those are different changes to that logo design that
so they may not even want any butterflies anymore.
Right. They may come out. Now that's that's called a redraw, right?
Mm-hmm.
A rework. But a revision is changes to an already agreed upon design. Okay,
mm-hmm.
so if you all agree that, hey, listen, I want to do butterflies, I want my name, and I want glitter, right? If you come back and say, okay, you made the glitter blue, can you make it purple? Can you make the butterflies larger, smaller? Could you change the font? Different changes to an already agreed upon design is what's called a revision. A lot of times, though, like Kim mentioned,
mm-hmm.
a person comes into the situation, they're like, all right, I don't like this, I want to do something else. I don't want butterflies, I want squirrels. You're like, what? What's going on? Now, that's a whole nother design. That designer's going to have to go and create a new vector. They're going to have to do more research. They're going to have to figure out a whole different approach to design. So that is categorized as a rework or a redraw, a new design. So if you work with different designers, they're going to have different ways of approaching this. They may charge you the same brand new package price, or they may give you a discounted rate since you already started the design process. But that's the difference. It's revisions. Some clients, some designers will give you unlimited revisions. Although that sounds attractive and it sounds good, you want to be careful with that because chances, it could get crazy. A good designer is going to kind of cap you on those revisions because that lets you know that they're a sought after designer. They don't have time to just keep kicking out designs for you. They'll give you a certain amount, and it lets you know, it gives you more confidence that they should be able to get it done. You know, and there's nothing wrong with an unlimited package. You know, that's, you know, I did it back in the day when I was first getting into it, right? You want to break into the industry and kind of get some designs under your in your portfolio. Mm-hmm. So you'll find a new designer, they probably do have the skills, and they may be offering that. So I'm not saying run away from it, but be leery that it's not as good as it seems.
Good job.
Like I stopped right there, could have kept going.
I know.
Boom.
See, you're doing good. You're doing good. Another common question we get is, what's the difference between a landing page and a website? You know.
Good question. Yeah, and we do get this quite often.
Yeah. I thought I already had a website. Why do I need a landing page?
Yeah.
Or I have a landing page. Why do I need a website?
Right. So landing page. This is a loaded question, but I'm going to try to condense it. Okay. So a landing page in today's world is mainly used for grabbing attention for a specific action you want a client to take.
A call to action.
A call to action, right? So a landing page is where you can put all of the content, copy, all of the things that are associated with the product or service you're pushing. Whether that be a book, that could be a service, that can be shoes, it could be coaching, it could be anything that you want to bring attention to say, hey, I'm the expert, I'm the person, you know, I have this book, I have these shoes that I've created, I have, you know, this organization I want you to be a part of, I have this group I want you to donate to, right? So a landing page is going to be very important for you grabbing the attention of your user, of your audience, and having them only focus on that singular call to action that you want. So everything on that landing page is going to be associated with that one thing you want them to do, whether it be listen to my podcast, donate here, you know, buy my book,
join my email list,
right, whatever, right? So a landing page is very integral, and in the terminology, sales funnels is very integral in that whole world, because the landing page is the first page you hit before you go into a sales funnel, which is a whole nother conversation. We probably could do a pod. I mean,
podcast.
Hey, podcast coming soon. We could do a live on sales funnels, because I think that's
right. A live on sales funnels. That's a whole different beast.
Yes. So, but to get back on track, a landing page is a way to isolate your clients so that they're able to focus on what that specific thing you want them to do. You could be teaching them keyboard, you could be doing anything, right? But it gets them to focus on that. Now, the difference between a website is it can have a landing page on it, but a website is your central hub for your business, for you, right? You could have a personal branded website where you just have a portfolio of photography you do, or it could be your blog, right? But a website has multiple pages. It's going to have a home page that sometimes acts as a landing page,
right?
But it's the first page you hit where you introduce people to who you are and what you do. The difference between the two is a website is going to have more information, and it's going to have it could have several actions that a person takes. As a designer in this day and age, I try not to design sites that have too many call to actions, but a website can have several different things that it's focusing on. It has a blog, it has contact page, it has service page,
several pages,
right? Video page, right? It has different ways to consume the content that you offer. So it's kind of like your catch-all website.
And someone asked, is that the pop-up you see when you go on sites?
Great question. Shout out to Melanie. Yeah, shout out one of our great clients. We love Melanie. Thank you. Okay. A landing, so that's not the pop-up. A pop-up can lead to a landing page, right? So a pop-up is designed to grab the attention of the audience and to drive them to a landing page so that you can have them focus on that singular service or product you want them to focus on. So when you see pop-ups on websites, a lot of times they say subscribe here for 20% or join my email list or whatever have you.
There is usually an offer there.
Yes.
In order for your client or customer to input their information in there.
In exchange for some kind of giveaway, more information, whatever have you. But a lot of times you'll use that pop-up to drive to a landing page that is specifically about what that pop-up is about.
Right.
Think about it. If I got a pop-up that said, I'm going to give you 5 reasons to stay married or get married, right? And I click on that, and then I go in there, and it's like an about page about some doctor who is the specialist in the field. I'm like, yo, where's my 5 things at, right? So that's a great question, because those are very integral with driving to a landing page.
Right.
And naturally, as a person consuming the content, you're going to be expecting to go and consume what you were just.
Get your 5 ways.
Yeah, what you were just convinced to go and consume. So I hope that helps. The landing page, singular focus, website, multiple focus, but it still has overall theme, overall focus on that product or service or that individual.
Mm-hmm.
But it also can have individual landing pages that are part of the website. So think of it as a central hub.
Good job.
Yeah.
Our next question, we kind of get a lot, and we see a lot, and especially like we were on our mentors live today, and I know some people, she said something like a joke or something, people are like, what's wrong with it? But the next frequently asked question we get a lot is, well, what's wrong with Wix? Why can't I use Wix to create my website, or have someone create a Wix website for me? What is wrong with Wix?
Now listen.
Complete the geek.
Now we're not gonna throw shade on Wix. Wix is a multi-million-dollar company, right? So we ain't here to throw shade on Wix. I think Wix. No, I'm not gonna say that. Wix exists because of this social media world and because of the simplicity of someone being able to get on a program and throw up a website and offer a product.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, if I'm a gamer, right, and I just wanted to throw up a website because I want people to watch me game, then Wix is fine. If it's for personal use, if it's a website where you like, I want to put together a quick website where I can share pictures with my family, all of our vacations, or I just want to do some very simple blogging, then Wix is fine. The problem is, what's up, G-Ma? The problem is, when you try to use Wix as a professional platform for your business, the problem with Wix is not the functionality, not because it's called Wix, it's just because it doesn't have a professional output.
She said, I was on that live. Yes, that live today.
It was. Yeah, our mentor was going in on that. So, it's just not a professional tool that will get you that branding. We talked about branding, right? So, your consumers can tell quality of websites. They can tell when I'm on Nike's website compared to
Vikings
website. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You can tell a difference. You know how you are, especially with shopping online. If any of you are selling products and services, think about it, right? I just came from Amazon. I just went to Fashion Nova or H&M or whatever happened, and I was looking at clothes on their site, and then here you go on your social post. Hey, check out my new shirt I just made.
Right.
And I go on your site, and it's a Wix site. Like, look at the drop off. There's a big drop off. Sorry. So I'm getting to the, you know what I'm saying? There's a big drop off from the two platforms.
And also, like Wix, it limits you. You can't customize as much.
And here's the thing. Someone might say, I can't customize. But it's like, if you're doing all that, why are you using Wix, right?
Yeah.
If you're techy enough to know how to customize Wix, you probably shouldn't be using Wix. So I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but I'll say it just doesn't give you the professional look you need. And while it is easier to get started with, you want to be focused. You want to be thinking about your brand. Like the first impression, that saying people have about first impressions, right? It's very important to make a great first impression. So if a person comes and they have an association with your brand and it looks like it was slapped up in 20 minutes. You know how they have, this is how they market you, right? They say, put a website up in 20 minutes. It's like, well, I don't want someone that spent 30 minutes on a website. Right? That lets me know that you're not committed to your product or service. You're not going to spend time to really give me a quality product. how do I know you're going to deliver? I mean, a quality website. How do I know you're going to deliver on your product or your service?
Right.
So, in the industry, Wix is not, respected as a professional tool to use. So while some of you may still use it, I'm just letting you know that that's something you're dealing with. Like, you can use it and try to roll with it. You know, you can get the ball rolling for now, but professional recommendation would say no. Just because you end up having to go back and create a website anyway. So it's kind of like wasting your time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Next question that we get a lot is pertaining to when we're creating websites is, what is copy and why do I need it on my website?
Yeah, this is one we've been getting a lot lately.
What is copy?
So copy is the text on your website, right? So if you ever heard this term, hey, so what, you have any copy I can work with? You have any copy? What's your copy? Copy is a term from the I think it's the newspaper industry, where it's just a term for text on your website. Like, what is the message? What is the message, the voice of your website, right? And what do the words say? What's really going on with that, right? Now, why do you need good copy? Think of it, right? You ever read a movie review or a synopsis of a book? In the back of the book, you got a synopsis, or you have a even before you watch a trailer, you might read like oh, let's say Netflix. Netflix does this all the time, right? You binge watching, right? Say you're trying to stop, right? You're like, oh man, I just hit 4 episodes. I need to chill. I'm going in. Then you say, you just happen to look. What's that? You just happen to look at your you happen to look at the next episode, and then you read, you say, oh, John is going to find out what happened to to Carl. So like, it's all crazy, right? And you're like, oh man, right? So copy, what that is that strong copy that draws you in, right? So why do you need copy? Well, there's a term that's used in the industry, which is your website is like salespeople that work 24 hours for you. So imagine having someone who can talk about your product or your service 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Right.
Any time in the day, for anybody from all over the world, they can come on to a place and talk with somebody about your website. About your product or service. That's what your website essentially can become. This is why it's so important, and I know that's one of the main questions. Do I even need a website? Well, do you want someone selling for you 24 hours a day?
How are they going to find you?
Right.
Online.
If you can't get on the phone, right? If they can't physically get in contact with you, how are they going to know and make a decision on whether or not they want to do business with you if there's nothing representing what you stand for and what product or service you're putting out to the world? So to answer that question, copy is very, very important, almost as important as the design on the website, simply because it's going to sell your product or service. Now, it doesn't have to be salesy, right? It doesn't have to be like, super car salesman, like shady, like trying to pull a wool over your head type thing, right? It really just needs to speak to your audience. If I'm selling t-shirts, the t-shirt description should tell me why I love the shirt, why I'm even on the site, and why I should buy it, right? If I'm selling websites, well, then that website should tell the website for the designer should say, hey, here's the reason why you want to get a website. Here's why you want to spend money for a quality website. Like they should be taking you through that process,
right? So
that you can get those questions that's in the inside of your head answered. That's what copy does, really. It answers rebuttals that you may get from your potential clients before they even get to you. So if I go to your website, like, okay, you're so good, let me see if you even got any skills. When I go to your website, I should be able to find a portfolio to see,
your work or testimonials.
You got testimonials.
I know me personally, when I go on websites or on companies' websites, I like to look at the reviews, like I need real time, what are people saying about the products, before I go and purchase something. So that's important.
Yeah. That's good. That's all I got on that.
So are you sure?
Yeah, I'm straight to the point today. I mean, it's really important to to spend time. We talked about this in previous lives. Like you got to spend time on not only getting the website up, but also focusing on what's going to get people to your website. Right. So that's traffic. But now that the traffic's getting here, right? Yeah. Now that this traffic's getting here, we did a lot of traffic. We just did a couple of episodes.
Yeah, you're right.
So
go back and
go check out that. We talked about traffic.
Right.
It was a really good combo. Had some great questions on that one. But now that they're there, like, what do I do, right? That we talked about this before as well. What do I do now that I'm here? What's the call to action? Why do I want your product or service? How's it going to benefit me? How's it going to change my life? And if you don't have copy that helps a person along that journey, then you're missing out.
You have to give your clients or customers something to do.
Yeah, and we all need something to do. In reality, we buy, video games and toys and all this stuff for our kids because these companies are telling us to do it. They're putting the commercial out. They're like,
or telling the kids to tell the parents.
Oh, yeah, even more real. Yes, they put that on there like, hey, go tell your mom right now.
Right.
To get you this, go put it on your list. And guess what? We're going to do it because we want our kids to be happy, right? So.
Right.
All
right. And our last question that we get frequently is, how do I use social media for my business? I mean, this might be like a common sense question, but pretty much everybody's already on social media on their personal accounts. Well, for businesses, you just need to make sure that you have your social media platforms set up under business profiles, not your personal profiles. You want to make sure you have separate profiles for your business, unless you have a brand that
like you're the brand.
You are the brand.
Right.
Then that's different. But another thing I would say too on how to use social media for your business is if you're not basically like a, how should I say,
social person or techie or.
If you don't really use social media, or you're not you wouldn't consider yourself to be an expert on social media, I would definitely suggest you start out with maybe 1 or 2 social media platforms when getting your business going on social media.
So you'll get overwhelmed.
Because you definitely get overwhelmed with the many social media platforms that are out there. So definitely get started on 1 or 2 social media platforms. And before you get started on those 2 social media platforms, make sure you do your research to find out where your target audience is, congregating, or where they're all hanging out. Because say your business, they might be just all on Pinterest,
right.
Your target audience, or they might be all on YouTube or Pinterest or Facebook and Instagram. So you definitely want to make sure you do your research up front to make sure where your target audience likes to hang out at, and that should give you more direction on, which platforms to kind of start your social media journey for your business. What were you about to say?
No, yeah, I was just.
I thought you were about to
I was waiting.
Yeah,
okay. But to Kim's point, the reason she says 2, because you don't want to just get on there and just post like, hey, buy my product. Like they're, what is the key word? It's social, right?
Right, social. You want to build, you want to be authentic.
Yeah.
You don't want to be salesy all the time. Like nowadays, I think more so than in the past, people are more so wanting authenticity with companies or with brands. They want the relationship. So, just be authentic on social media, be yourself, We go back to when we were talking about earlier, what is branding? It's a consistent tone. What's your voice for your company?
Right.
Have an authentic tone in your brand.
Don't use some humor.
You people I love to laugh. GIFs? Yeah, you got me one already. But definitely be authentic when you're posting. And another reason why I recommend you start out with 1 or 2 social media platforms, because you want to remain consistent. You want to start building credibility with your audience.
When they be engaged.
You want them to be engaged.
And you engage with them, right? Like if you have all these platforms, it's going to be hard to go back and forth in conversation with people, and really like their stuff and support them. Like you can't do that on 5 platforms,
right?
So you need to get a system down packed on 1 or 2 platforms,
right? And
then you go to the other platforms. And like Kim said, you might even need to go on some of the other platforms just because your audience isn't there.
Just depending on where they're hanging out at. So you definitely want to make sure you do your research up front. And you just want to, create a schedule so you can be consistent, so they can start seeing you frequently. The more they see you, the more you're building your credibility on your end, and the more they're going to build trust with you. And, bada bing, bada boom.
You know what I'm saying? You're in that thing. All right. So
But yeah, in a nutshell, I mean, I could go on and on about social media because there's so much more. But basics, just start out with 1 or 2. Find out where your target audience is hanging out at, and also make sure your profiles are set to business profiles.
Yeah.
On there, so you can check, your insights and your analytics, so you can see, you can track your audience and so forth. And I'll stop it right there.
That's good.
Just to keep it.
That's good. We're ready to tie it in for people.
So so those basically some of the questions. I mean, of course, we get more questions, but
yeah, we figured it'd be good every couple of episodes to come on and just kind of go over the questions we're getting. I'm sure we'll get more.
I think emailing y'all is so great. Last Connection. Hope y'all also check out. Oh, we will.
Oh yeah. We're gonna check that out. Thanks for the info. The plug, yes. But yeah, we like I said, every couple of lives we'll do this to kind of bring in some of the questions we're getting on offline.
Right.
So, but yeah, if you have any questions, we'll like always, we'll wait a few minutes. If you have any questions, then we'll get up out of here.
Yeah.
Gotta go decorate the Christmas tree.
Yeah, we told the kids that tonight. So actually this year, in the past years, we've been buying fig trees.
Hey, listen. Fine. No, we had a tree. You just go put that bad boy up. Boom.
This one right here. But this year, surprised me. He wanted to get a real tree, so we got a real tree. So we're waiting for the leaves to fall down a little bit.
Even though, because I haven't been getting real trees like that, first day, that thing was just sitting there without no water. So I had to come the next day. I was like, oh my gosh! I just thought about it mid work day, just ran and put water in it. So hopefully it survives.
So anyway, we told the kids we were going to decorate the tree, so we got to decorate the tree. So my son just heard y'all say decoration time.
Hey, it's that time.
I know we're not waiting to the last minute this time.
I don't think we would. Maybe 1 year. I don't think we always pretty good. Anyway, we're getting off track. Any questions, y'all?
No questions. We want to talk about Christmas. That's my favorite holiday. I love Christmas. Mm-hmm. But if no questions, as always, thank you all for joining our weekly live. Mm-hmm. We hope you all have a better than ever week. Looking forward to chatting it up with y'all on next week.
That's right. Thank you.
If you do have any questions, feel free. You can find us at The Branding Geeks on Facebook and Instagram. Once again, that's at The Branding Geeks. You can check out our new website at www.thebrandinggeeks.com. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's all, folks.
That's all.
Hope you have a great night. Bye.
Wow.